Hey everybody, buenas tardes. Mayor Matt Tuerk here, Mayor of Allentown. I'm here with the CEO of the Lehigh County Authority, and we're going to talk about some information. We're going to try to gather some information, or we're going to be working to get some information about your water service line pipe. I think I said that right.
Yes,
right?
You did. Yep.
Awesome. So I get a newsletter from LCA with my bill, and it talks more about this. What I was thinking, and what we're thinking is that we could talk with our water users and get a little more information about this attempt to collect some information. So
Okay.
Tell me more. Tell me what's going on.
Okay, happy to. Thank you for being here and being so interested in what we're doing. So we did issue a newsletter with a survey and a link to information about service line material. And what we're really looking for is information on the material of the pipe. So we want to understand where customers have copper pipes versus lead pipes or other types of materials, really trying to focus in on identifying where the lead service lines are.
Got it.
So lead service lines are prevalent throughout the city, but we don't have great records about where they are. So customers can help us identify that and share that information with us and give us a better way to plan for getting the lead out of the system.
Right, and we all know about it. I mean, well, we don't all know, but we know that there's an issue with lead pipes.
Sure.
So why now, though? Like, what's going on now that makes this important?
Well, there's really a convergence of a couple really important things. Number one, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, issued a new lead in copper rule in 2021 that's changing the way utilities deal with lead. The kind of focus that EPA put on it was to first do the inventory that we talked about, understanding where the lead is in the system, but then also a real push to remove that lead from the system. So that's the first part. Second part is infrastructure funding.
Right.
And the infrastructure funding bill that was passed last year provides for significant resources, grant resources for doing the work.
This type of work,
Yeah, so for us to be able to leverage that and receive grant funding to remove lead service lines, we need to know where the service lines are.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're at a historic time in funding for making infrastructure improvements. In particular in communities like ours with that bipartisan infrastructure law. So that's right on. That is what makes this important right now.
So just to add on to that, the EPA regulatory framework actually is a little bit delayed where we wouldn't have to do replacements until 2024 or so, but the money's becoming available now.
Right.
So that's why we're having this urgency to gather the information so we can be proactive and go after grant funding that's coming available later this year even.
And we need to have the information in place to be able to access that grant funding.
Absolutely.
That's what makes it so important right now.
Right.
And so, I mean, I got the newsletter and I can take the survey, but who are you really looking to take this survey? And they can click through, like an electronic version for the newsletter, they can click through, but who should take it and where do they find that survey?
Great, so the survey is on our website. Can get to that's LehighCountyAuthority.org, thank you.
Yep.
So you can go to the website and find it, or just scan the code that's in the newsletter with a mobile phone and it'll take you right to the survey.
So the print edition, I'm a big digital guy, but the print edition has like a QR code that you can scan. Okay.
Yeah, so you just scan with your mobile phone, take you right to the survey. If you receive a bill, take the survey. If you are a tenant and you're hearing about it through our conversation, go to the website and take the survey.
Okay.
And anyone who lives in Allentown, or really anyone who receives LCA water, even if it's outside of Allentown, we'd love to have information on.
So it's not just our residents here in Allentown?
It's all of, every water utility is going to be subject to the EPA rule. The focus for us is mostly Allentown because it's the oldest system that we have, which means there's going to be more lead in Allentown than in other areas.
Just because we built our system over 100 years ago, materials were different.
And lead was being used up until 1955 or so.
Oh, really?
Which, so a lot of the housing stock in Allentown is from that era or earlier.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have some pipes in front of us, but how does somebody know if they have lead pipes in their house?
That's a great question, and we're trying to make it a little easier for customers. When you do the survey, there's links to fact sheets, so you can get that information that way. But there's basically 4 types of service lines.
Okay.
There's copper, plastic, galvanized steel, or lead.
And so, just real quick, so the service line is the line coming into my house from outside.
Yeah.
And so if I go into my basement, I'm going to be able to see one of these 4 types of lines.
Yeah, you should be able to see it. And what we are telling customers is to look for the water meter, because people generally can find their water meter. And then the pipe that connects into their water meter is their service line.
Got it.
And just to keep in mind too, the public side of the system only goes from the street to the curb.
Okay.
And then the privately owned portion, the portion that the homeowner owns, is from the curb into the house.
Got it. So your stuff is the public stuff.
Right.
And then my stuff inside is
exactly
from the street to the house, the curb into the house.
Right. But we need to be concerned about both. And the grant funding will be available for both.
Got it.
So the copper service line is relatively easy because it looks like the color of a penny, and most people recognize what copper looks like.
Right.
So look at the penny next to it, looks like copper.
Got it.
Same thing with plastic. It's usually white, might be blue, but
definitely not lead.
Definitely not. Yeah. Definitely not any kind of metal. So plastic and copper are pretty easy. It's when we get into the galvanized steel and the lead that it's a little harder to tell, because they look similar.
Got it.
Right. So here we have a galvanized line. It's galvanized steel, and you can tell this is galvanized steel because a magnet sticks to it.
Okay.
And this one, magnet, does not.
So magnet won't stick to lead.
Right.
Okay.
That's one test.
That's one way to test it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that you can do is take a quarter or any kind of coin and do a scratch test.
Okay.
And if you scratch on the metal, it's a little dull. On the galvanized, if you scratch on the lead, it's shiny.
It looks polished.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And the other thing too that we that if you really just want to be sure, on the scratched area, you can press your fingernail into lead and it'll make an indentation.
Oh, really? So it's that soft?
Yeah. Don't use the screwdriver.
Got it.
Just use your fingernail, and then you can be really sure that it's lead.
Got it. So you can either try to take a magnet. If a magnet doesn't stick to it, it's probably lead. Probably might be plastic too, but probably not.
Right.
looks like metal. So you can either try the magnet, you can do the scratch test, and then you can even push into it.
Yeah.
I just pushed in and made a little indent.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. So, okay, let's say I go to my basement and I get my magnet out and I find that there's what appear to be lead pipes in my basement. What should I do? What should a family do when they find what they think are lead pipes in their basement?
So first I want to say that no matter what you find, we want you to tell us.
Okay.
So we're not just looking for the lead service lines, we're looking for them all.
Got it.
So no matter what you find, do the survey.
Cool.
But if you have a lead service line, a couple different ways to think about it. You could replace your service line. That's going to be expensive.
It is, okay.
Right? So because you'd probably need to dig up your yard and do quite a bit of work. You need a plumber. Yes, thank you.
Don't do it yourself.
Thank you, yeah. So really what we're most concerned about with lead exposure is when water sits inside that pipe for an extended period of time. So you think about, you go to bed at night and then the water is just inside your plumbing for a long period of time, and then that first glass of water that you take to drink, right? Or to make your coffee, that's the water that's sitting inside your pipes overnight. The water that's out in the water system, out in the street, has no lead in it. Our system has no lead in it.
Got it.
So for you to bring water out from the street to your tap, you just need to use water.
Got it.
So you could open your faucet and flush water through your home, or keep water in your refrigerator. So you have that fresh supply in your fridge, then go take a shower, do the dishes, or do other things with the water, and that'll bring the fresh water.
A few minutes will flush your system
3 to 5 minutes, short shower, run the dishwasher, something like that. will bring water from the street into the house and remove that water that's been sitting in your lines for the, for the duration of the night.
Got it. So we're going to let you know in the survey what kind of pipes we have in our basement. And then if we have lead pipes and we can't afford to replace them yet, we want to replace them ultimately, and that's what we're looking for funding to help the whole entire community do. But until that point, we're going to flush our systems out by taking a shower, by running the water for a little while, keep the water in the refrigerator. Are there any other things that families can do to remediate or to limit their exposure to lead? Yeah,
just some basic home maintenance, like cleaning out your aerator on your faucets.
Okay.
So every faucet has like a little end cap underneath the faucet. You can unscrew it. Has a little screen in it, maybe some other components.
So sometimes it's a green screen. It's like a green.
Yeah, or a rubber washer. You can take that off and rinse it out, remove any particles, because the particles can come from inside the pipe.
Okay.
So it's good.
The particles inside could be leaded?
Could be.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it'd be good to do that every month for a period of time, and then once you have a good history of like how much particles you're getting in your aerator, then you can back off and do it less often, or just replace them on some frequent basis.
So the aerator is the thing right under my faucet. I can unscrew that, take a look at the stuff that's in there, and it's like all kinds of weird stuff in there. And if I have lead pipes, there could be lead particles in there that I want to clean out. So I should make a kind of regular practice of cleaning the aerator out.
Yeah.
And that'll help reduce my exposure
to
lead.
absolutely.
So we'll clear our pipes through running the water in the morning, keep our water in the refrigerator, and we'll clean out those aerators. If a family wants to replace those lead pipes, like we talked about calling a plumber, it is a pretty significant. What should they do? Like what action should they take to replace those lead pipes?
So if you know that you have a lead service line, your best option is to call a plumber, and the plumber will walk you through permitting and inspection process, all the things that you might need to do in order to replace that line. But LCA also wants to know. So if you do the survey and tell us you have a lead service line, and then you replace it, we need to know that you replaced it. Right, exactly.
Okay.
So, the basic steps of doing a plumbing job always starts with talking to the professional.
A good plumber.
Yeah.
Right. Which are not easy to find in this era, but they're out there. And
absolutely.
They're ready to do work like this.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that we should know, that our residents should know about either lead pipes or the survey or anything else?
Just that we're really trying to be proactive so that we can be prepared to bring resources into the community.
Yeah.
And so to do that, we need the customer's help doing the survey. And also, if you find that you have a lead service line and you're interested, to let us know that we can do some water testing on your incoming water.
You can do the testing?
We can do the testing. We're doing lead testing this summer as part of the EPA requirements, and we're always looking for homes that have lead service lines to be part of that program.
Got it.
So as you're doing the survey, you have an opportunity to sign up for that as well, and then we can get a little more information about the water quality that you're receiving.
And how long is the survey open?
The survey is going to be open for another couple of months.
Okay.
So it's been open for about 3 months without doing a lot of communication about it. We already have 300 responses, which is great, but we'd love to see 3,000.
Yes, or even more.
Yeah.
Allentown, we've got 46,000 residences.
Yeah.
We can do better than 300, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you to Liesel Gross and the LCA for the work that you're doing to address lead pipes, particularly here in our city of Allentown. I want to encourage all of our city residents, like I said, we've got 46,000 residences. I want you to complete the survey. Please, por favor, te estoy pidiendo que termino con esta encuesta. We're going to work together. Let's work together to get lead out of Allentown and out of Lehigh County.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for your interest and for helping us spread the word. And have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for this delicious water.
Yes, thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's good water.